RMJ movie reviews back again in time for a sip. Alright, now I'm coming with my next Black History Month movie review of Robert Townsend's The Five Heartbeats from 1991. Oh boy, I got a lot of fond memories of this movie. It's really nice too. This is actually a 15th anniversary edition of this, so this is actually a pretty old DVD. It's a shame it's in full screen. Of course, it's not widescreen. Not like they could actually pay for it to be in full screen, but it does have some nice special features on here, some TV spots, no commentary, unfortunately, but a nice behind the scenes, some discussions with Robert Townsend, good stuff. Man, I remember when this film came out. I believe I was in, I think, 3rd grade when this movie came out. I don't remember what month this came out, but I did see the film when it first came to video, and it is, in my personal opinion, that this is Robert Townsend's strongest film from that time period of kind of the 80s when he made Hollywood Shuffle, and then he directed Eddie Murphy Raw, and I believe this was his 3rd directed film. I could be wrong, and Meteor Man came after this. Meteor Man is okay. I actually might be the only person on earth who actually saw Meteor Man at the theater. Digressing quickly, there was literally me and my best friend in the theater when Meteor Man came out, and Meteor Man was not out very long, but Meteor Man was always okay. I might review that one day if I can actually find the DVD anywhere, if it exists. I don't know, but between Meteor Man and Back to Hollywood Shuffle, in that gap, this was definitely Robert Townsend's strongest movie. And basically, this is kind of a fictitious group of a lot of those, I guess I can only label it R&B groups from like the 60s and the 70s, kind of a la the Temptations and those kind of groups. This is a very strong picture. I think when you take a look at, I don't really count Raw in this spectrum because Raw was more of a concert movie. But in terms of, and I know Hollywood Shuffle was Robert Townsend's first directed movie, but with this film, Hollywood Shuffle, although I love Hollywood Shuffle, that's a great movie. Hollywood Shuffle was kind of a tad bit clunky. You know what I mean? This here is verily. The structure is very well. It really shows the progression of the Five Heartbeats from their very modest beginnings to when they get successful, to when they hit the top, to when they go to the bottom, and then when they even back out. Kind of typical stuff. Of course, people talk about the Temptations movie that came years and years later. I believe the Temptations TV movie came out in 2000. Was it 90? Or it might have been 1999 or 98. I can't remember. But that movie is just still played to this day. We know that's the pinnacle. Also, Leon, who stars in this film, was in that too. But you got a powerhouse cast here. As a matter of fact, Robert Townsend brought in pretty much everybody who was in Hollywood Shuffle. And they all have big parts to small parts in this film here. And also, I didn't even realize it until watching this movie again that Keenen Ivory Wayans co-wrote this movie. I didn't know that, until looking at the credits again. But Keenen Ivory Wayans, of In Living Color, A Low Down Dirty Shame, and I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, Scary Movie 1 and 2, and White Chicks, if anybody even wants to remember that one. And I think the other movie was Little Man or Little Son. I never saw that one. But either way, Keenen Ivory Wayans co-wrote this with with Robert Townsend, and they were a good combination. It'd be really nice if they could kind of come back together and kind of write something now. But, Robert Townsend and all these guys who starred in this movie, particularly the black actors, really have always been inspirations for me, particularly Keenen Ivory Wayans and Robert Townsend. They've always been inspirations to me. Unfortunately, Bill Cosby, before this stuff came out, Eddie Murphy, all those guys, from back in the 80s. They've always been inspirations for me. And, showing me that you could actually, do this thing and make films and be an actor and you know, express yourself creatively and all that great stuff. But back onto the Five Heartbeats, it's just such a, it's a very I have not seen the film probably since, it's been a while since I saw the movie and sat and watched it all the way through, and I still very much really do like this movie. What I really notice in watching it now as an adult is just the amount of it, you know, no pun intended, but there's a lot of heart in this movie. Looking at the behind the scenes features, this was actually, Robert Townsend was going to make this as a comedy, which I just can't see this being a comedy. But I love the fact that Robert Townsend, you know, going from 2 comedies previous to this and then making this film that is more heartfelt, I don't want to say heavy, because it kind of rides that line of melodramatic. It gets heavy, but it doesn't get too heavy. But Robert Townsend really handles the directing duties here. But then again, he's got a powerhouse cast to kind of help him along with the material. And the movie is very well written. The characters are clearly individuals. I love how the Five Heartbeats, they're all different kind of guys. And that's what I like too, is the fact that they're all individual people. I think, digressing a little bit and getting into the social commentary, I think that's kind of the unfortunate thing that us as black people have always got shafted by, is the fact that, you know, people who you know, are ignorant just think that we're all alike. But I love how, you know, this movie shows different facets. You know what I mean? So you got like the choir boy, who's kind of more of a, you know, he's a church boy, obviously. Then you got the hothead of the group, who's the actor from, goodness, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was in Mo Money. He was Amber from Mo Money. You got Leon, who's kind of more the playboy, the sex guy. You know, he's you know, the sex addict guy. And you got Michael Wright, who was in Oz, and I can't remember what else he's done, but Michael Wright is just a fantastic actor. You know, he can really play those really dark moments very well. And then you got Robert Townsend, who's kind of more of the comedian, kind of goofball guy with heart. You know, he plays that very well in this film. And they're all individual characters, and they just, and also I really like the guy, I need to look in the credits, but he plays Jimmy, who's the manager of the group. One of the scenes I always hated in this movie is when he got killed. That is just that movie always sucked, because the actor who played him, his wife doesn't want him to do this, and it's just so sad, the fact that the guy gets killed, man, because you can tell that the guy is up in age. He really just believes in himself, and he really wants to do this, because it's just, that's his being, that's his heart, and he pays the price with his life. That's a really sad part of the film. I love the scene where his wife has the confrontation with Big Red in the church, and she slaps him in his face. That's a really good moment. That's one of the moments in the movie, out of probably a couple moments, that kind of, watching the film now, it kind of almost brought me to tears, because she just played that so. Yeah, oh man, she played that really good, man. It's a very good scene. The songs in the film, I think these are taken from real songs. Don't quote me. You know, I'm only 34, so I don't know for sure. I wasn't born when all these groups were out, so I think these are taken from real songs. I could be wrong, but I love all the songs in the film. One of my favorite moments, as many of the singing moments in the movie, I love the moment where he's writing in his room and his sister joins in, and they come to, he's writing his lyrics down, and he's kind of like, dang, I can't come up with this, and she starts piecing together all the pieces that he's thrown away, and then they kind of create a song out of all the separate pieces that he thinks is junk, but she put them together and created a song, and they sing this beautiful song together in the room. I really love that scene. Matter of fact, I want to put it on my MP3 player. But that's a really good moment. I also love the moment where Leon is competing with the new guy who's the head of the group. You know, you've known that guy. He's been at house party. You know, no, my brother, you've got to get by your own. That actor, I forget his name. He's done Spike Lee stuff. He was in all these kind of black movies from like the late 80s and the early 90s. But I love that scene where they're kind of competing for the girls' attention in the audience. That's a really good scene. I love Leon with the I love that part of the movie. Really good scene, and also the actor who's the bus driver who got shot in Speed in the arm. Don't spit on my bus, Annie. Him. He really plays that big red character who is kind of a mirror of Suge Knight. He really plays that role really well. In particular, I love the part where he beats up the guy from Hollywood Shuffle and hangs him off the balcony, a la Vanilla Ice. I'm pretty sure that was probably taken, from those stories at that time. But he really plays the role really slimy, really icky, just very good. He's very creepy and over the top. Matter of fact, I was looking at the behind the scenes features, and the actor who played that role was kind of still in character when he was doing the interview, and he did that laugh where he was like, ha 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 ha, and I was like, this guy's like really creepy, like for real. I was just played that role really well, and it's just, man, I've always really liked this movie. It's always fun when you take a look at movies that you haven't seen in a long time, you kind of rediscover it again and get to know the movie again. And also, too, I love how Robert Townsend sprinkles throughout the movie his own kind of humor. Because when you watch Hollywood Shuffle and you watch Meteor Man, in the beginning portion of Raw, Robert Townsend kind of has that a lot of that style of humor from the Eddie Murphys and the Waynes. A lot of black actors and comedians kind of had that similar style of humor, but Robert Townsend kind of has his own kind of unique kind of spin on it. You know what I mean? He kind of has a way of blending kind of human elements where they find the humor in real life situations. You know what I mean? And I like how he can play the warmth, and then he can play the sadness. Like when he finds out the fact that his brother is sleeping with, his wife. I mean. And he plays it so good. A guy actually asks him for his autograph when he finds out about this affair. And, you can see him as he's writing this autograph that he's not there. He's just focused on, man, seriously, my wife is sleeping with somebody else. And then he has this moment where he kind of goes like he looks like he's swallowing. You know what I mean? And you could feel that pain when you find out that somebody you're in love with cheats on you, and it's just it's an undescribable feeling. But if anybody who's watching this knows what it feels like, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's a sick, it's an indescribable, internally painful feeling that you just can't describe it. But Robert Townsend really shows that very well. A lot going on underneath. I really like that scene. That's what I like about the 5 Heartbeats, is that Robert Townsend really got a chance to show his dramatic side in this movie. Another scene I really like is the scene where the cops pull him over. This is the early 90s, so this is like, Rodney King beatings, pre-LA riots kind of time. So there was a lot of stuff like that in movies back then. But, where the cops kind of humiliate the guys and, you're a singing band, why don't you sing? And they start to sing, and the look on their faces. And I tell you, being a man of color, those facial expressions that those actors make while they're being harassed by the cops, every single one of them actors, that ain't acting. That's authentic. Every single one of them knows that feeling. I know that feeling just from watching the movie. That's 100% real and authentic. There is no way to describe the feeling that you feel in being harassed by a cop. It's indescribable for a black man to describe that. That scene elicits that feeling very well. But just a very well done movie. The structure is nice. I just really, it was such a delight to rediscover this movie again. It'd be nice that if it could kind of be highlighted a little bit more. I know amongst cult audiences, people realize the 5 Heartbeats, but it'd be nice if it got a little bit more praise. I think Robert Townsend is a very underrated director. I think he deserves a little bit more credit, for the work that he's done. So that is pretty much my review of the 5 Heartbeats. It's just a very heartfelt film. I love the music. I love the performances. It's just the kind of movies that I used to watch that made me realize that I could, get into this industry and into this game. So, very tightly structured movie. Also, too, before I leave, I love when Michael Wright plays these kind of crackheadish type of characters. He kind of just had an extension of this character when he was on Oz in the 2000s. Now, I'm sorry, I almost left that scene out. I love the scene at the end in church when you find out that Michael Wright is sober and all that stuff, and he's singing that song. That's a heartfelt moment, man. I mean, really, I don't know. I look at these things a little bit different now because I'm older, but at the time, when I was like obviously a 10-year-old or a 9-year-old, wherever I was when I saw this movie, I'm just like, they're singing, cool. But now I'm looking at it a lot differently now. But this is a beautiful film. I wish it could get a little bit more credit that it deserves. But that's my review of The Five Heartbeats, directed by Robert Townsend. Thumbs up. Subscribe. Share. Brother Numpsy. Share. RMJ Movie Reviews. My next movie review for Black History Month is going to be What is High? What is Learn? What is learning? What is higher learning? Directed by John Singleton and starring Ice Cube, Christy Swanson, Omar Epps, and Michael Rappaport. RMJ Movie Reviews. I'll see you soon.